Alright guys, welcome back to the Dark Souls Remastered walkthrough, Indiana Jones style. In this episode, we are finally going to complete Sigmayr's quest, and we're going to start our boss blitz run, where we're just going to go through and kill a lot of bosses consecutively, a lot of the optional bosses. We're going to be going back into the depths, and we're going to kill the Gaping Dragon, which will be a complete joke with our arsenal now. And then we're going to go and we're going to kill Priscilla in the Painted World. But before we do all of that, we're going to take a trip down into the Great Hollow and try our luck with the Crystal Lizards. There are a total of 10 Crystal Lizards in the Great Hollow. Unfortunately, Crystal Lizards do not stay on the screen for very long. So a lot of quitting out and loading back in is required to make all of the Crystal Lizards spawn. So I could have edited a lot of these quit outs, but I wanted to leave it in just to show you, give you guys an idea of how long it's going to take to get the Crystal Lizards to spawn. I was never good at navigating the Great Hollow. It's kind of complicated. There's a lot of ways you can go and get kind of lost in. Again, credit goes to Gray for Gamers. Again, I used their YouTube video to figure out how to get down this massive tree in an optimal path. And they had a very optimal path. And in their video, they get 3 freaking Titanite slabs. 3! 3 slabs! That's like unheard of. They must have been hacking, right? Well, in my playthrough, I didn't even get a single Titanite slab. So, a little spoiler warning there for you. We don't get a single slab. But Gray for Gamers, they get 3 of them. I just don't get it. Luck of the draw, I guess. Again, credit to their video will be in the description. Now, apart from upgrading our armor with a Titanite slab, we really don't need a Titanite slab at this point in the game because we've already upgraded our whip and Avalon to plus 15, and those are our main weapons right now. However, we still use the Cestus, but we're not going to be using the Cestus that we have to plus 14. We're not going to use it for the final boss. We're going to craft a Crystal Cestus to kill Gwen with. So really, getting a slab at this point would have just been a luxury, icing on the cake. We could have used it on the Cestus, but it really isn't going to affect our playthrough in any way. And if you still want a slab, the Farming Path and New Londo Ruins is your best shot. Yeah, it's going to take a while. Sometimes it takes hours upon hours before you get a drop, but it does happen, especially if you have 10 humanity and you're using the Gold Serpent Ring. Alright, so let's talk about the dangers that we're going to face in the Great Hollow. The first danger that we're going to face is gravity. And boy, gravity is a bitch in Dark Souls, and the Great Hollow is no exception. And since we're not using a sorcery build, we can't use fall control to prevent our death, so we just got to rely on our wits and our awareness to avoid death by falling. And the Basilisks are the second danger, and there's a lot of them in the Great Hollow, and they will curse you, and this is the reason why we picked up the Curse Bite Ring, so we wouldn't have to worry about our resistance to curse. So we're coming up on our first bonfire here, and we definitely want to sit at it this time. In fact, I don't even think we lit it last time when we went for the Coloranthe Ring. We just went right past it, I think. So yeah, we got to light it and sit at it. Now, I've played this area quite a bit lately, and I've had 0 luck with the Crystal Lizards. So equipping the Gold Serpent Ring really doesn't do anything, and having 10 humanity doesn't seem to do anything. And going back and looking at the Gray for Gamers footage where they got 3 Titanite slabs, he had 0 humanity. And I don't think he had the Gold Serpent Ring equipped, so I don't get it. I guess the Crystal Lizards, getting the good drops from the Crystal Lizards, having all these rings does not really affect it. Now we've equipped the Curse Bite Ring, and you can see our meter has grown extensively. So what you want to do is you want to fall off the right side right there. Just rolling off is the best bet. And when you come to the curb right here, you have to look. You can actually see the Crystal Lizard down there. And they're not alerted to our presence just yet, so we can probably get him before he despawns. Don't go to the left of this branch here. You'll get stuck. So yeah, he didn't see us, so we can pop him. Now, even though we don't get a Titanite slab And here's where I kind of like, oh, maybe I can increase my chances. Yeah, it didn't help. Well, even though we're not getting a slab in this walkthrough, we are getting Twinkling Titanite, which is good because we can upgrade our armor to +5, our jacket to +5. We still can't upgrade our hat and our pants to +10 because we don't have slabs to waste. Now here's where you want to quit out for the first time. There are a total of 3 crystal lizards in the area that we are in right now, where we quit out. There are 2 crystal lizards in the tunnel leading to this area, so that's a total of 5 crystal lizards you should have, and you can see them all spawning right here. Now you're not going to get them all when you spawn. You can actually see all 3 that we have to get here. And we only can get 1, so actually I probably could have snuck up on that guy right there, but I don't know why I quit out here. But yeah, try to get as many as you can and try to keep track of how many you have. So we've killed a total of 2 so far out of 5 in this first area. So as we spawn back in, we're going to sneak up behind this guy this time. It's going to take 2 shots from the Avalon to take it out. And we are using the weakest bolts. There's no sense of wasting the big bolts on the crystal lizards. And we'll have to quit out yet again. Gonna be and there we get nothing. So we're just gonna keep quitting out until something happens. Sometimes it takes 4 or 5 tries before even 1 crystal lizard will spawn. And there's one right in front of us. And I recommend using the Avalon to take them out because, you know, unless you have like a pointy weapon like a spear or, you know, a katana that has a thrust attack, it's going to be kind of hard to take out the crystal lizards in a timely fashion before they despawn. Now I don't know why I went to the front of the cave. I thought I didn't remember that I had taken out the other one when I first arrived, because usually you don't get to them in time. So we have to quit out yet again. Nothing. That's another reason I wanted to leave the quit outs in here, just so you guys will know that you do have to quit out quite a few times to get them to spawn. And there he is. And that's going to be all 5 in this area. So now we are going to go to the next area. So you want to come off right here. And you're not going to go down, you're going to go up. And off to the left here, you're going to stick to the left and go up. And when it has an intersection right here, you're going to stop. And you're going to quit out again. There will be 1 crystal lizard that spawns on the branch that you're currently on. Just kind of go down a little bit, and he's not there, and we got to quit out again. Is he here this time? No. When he does spawn, this will be our 6th out of 10 crystal lizards. And there he is. Starting to fade away like he's trying to disappear. Not this time. So we have 6. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go back to the spawn point, or the bonfire, because we have to go to a slightly different route than we took. And since we have some good amount of Twinkling Titanite here, we're going to go ahead and upgrade our jacket to well, we can finish off our gauntlets, but we can also work on our jacket. I think we can get it to +5 here. And we did. So we have a fully upgraded jacket now. Only thing that's missing is our hat and our pants. So you want to roll off again. This is the same path you took before, but there's going to be a slight difference. Instead of dropping off here at the curb, right there, where the twist is, You're going to continue forward, and you're going to drop off right here. There's a total of 2 crystal lizards in this area. One is in the far back, right there. We might can get him. And we did. But no slab. How unfortunate. So, the other one spawns at the front of the tunnel. So we have to keep quitting out till he gets a spawn here. So just run to the front and see if he's there. And he is. Alright. So that is a total of 8 out of 10 crystal lizards. So we only have 2 left. But to get to that one, it's going to take a little bit of a... This is where I would have gotten lost. It's kind of hard to find this one. This next area. So you want to drop down and you continue downwards. And make sure you have the Curse Bite Ring equipped. Now when it intersects like that, continue going down and back. Now here are the Basilisks. You can fight them if you want to, but the more you fight them, the more likely you could get cursed. It just is up to you if you want to fight them or not. I was just showing off the power of the Curse Bite Ring here. You can see the meter is building up, but not nearly as much as it would have had you not had the ring on. The rings in Dark Souls really are a huge advantage at times. So we want to continue down, but not the left side. You're going to go down this right side here. And just keep following it all the way down here until you see yet another intersection. Right here. And then you're going to go back. Like you're going to turn and go that way. Yep. Now, this is the area that you have to quit out the most to find the damn crystal lizards for some reason. There's only 2 of them that spawn here, and it might take a while. So get prepared. Oh, while we're waiting for all these crystal lizards... Oh, we got one right off the bat here. And we missed him. Ah, we didn't have our Avalon equipped. Oh, what a shame. So now we got to quit out yet again. What I was going to say is... there is another danger at the bottom of the Great Hollow. Those giant mushroom guys that can one-shot you with their big punches are down there. There's like 3 or 4 of them. And it's a good idea to lure them to you and then run for the exit, because nothing sucks worse than getting to the end and having to start all the way at the top of the tree again. So make sure you respect their punch. Now, the benefit to killing the giant mushrooms is they have a chance to drop gold pine resin, a very good item in Dark Souls. It's kind of an overpowered item, which is why the vendors do not sell it infinitely. They only have a finite amount because it's kind of overpowered. It's kind of like having the Sunlight Blade spell, maybe a weaker version of it, because the Sunlight Blade spell, I think it scales to faith, and you can actually boost faith by using certain rings. So, yeah, it's kind of, I guess, a weaker version of it, but it applies the lightning to your weapons, which we have used it. Oh, yes, finally, he spawns. But we have used the gold pine resin before, but we're going to use it again pretty soon on the when we go to Priscilla, because we want to cut her tail off, and cutting her tail off with the whip isn't going to be very easy unless you have a buff, and the gold pine resin is a good buff. We're down to 1 crystal lizard now. At last, our friend has arrived. And that is going to wrap it up for the crystal lizards. And our hunt did not yield a slab. Not a single freaking slab. Oh well. I was going to do an emote here to express my disappointment. But no, I'm not jealous at Gray for Gamers at all. No, not at all. So I had to do a quick edit here. You could probably catch it right there. Because gravity killed me. And like I said, gravity's a bitch. But these ladders, you definitely want to use these ladders to get to the bottom here. Conveniently, it's right next to the final area where you have to kill the crystal lizards. There's a few more basilisks down here. A charging whip attack will take them out quickly. Two-handed for sure. You'll definitely see my souls down here because, like I said, gravity, it's kind of a bitch in Dark Souls. You don't really have to worry about curse too much, not with the ring equipped. And you'll find the branch going down here. And remember what I talked about the mushrooms. There's going to be the small variety first, and then their mama and papa will join in shortly after. You definitely don't want to pick a fight with those guys. They will take out any kind of health bar with a few shots. They are very powerful. Do not underestimate these mushrooms. They might be a big target. Unless you got like a really powerful weapon and good armor and shield and all that. And we don't have either one of those, so we're just not going to deal with them. But if you wanted to farm gold pine resin, the best way to do it is we go to, there's the enchanted ember in the area where we had the covenant with the cat. We're close to where we got our hat. But they infinitely respawn as long as you don't pick up the ember from the chest. So that's one way you can farm for it. So there's a few of them down there. Now these small ones might kind of fall on top of you while you're dealing with the big ones. So there's one and there's another one coming. We want to lure them up here. We definitely don't want to provoke them. So don't get hit. There's about 3 of them here. So now we are home free. Get to the fog wall as fast as possible because they will follow you. Now we are ending Sigmar's quest at last. We will get a Titanite slab for our troubles. We didn't get a slab in the crystal lizard farm there, so it's kind of a consolation prize getting this one. And we're going to upgrade our whip to plus 15. We're not going to deal with the Cestus much this going forward. Like I said, we're going to craft a crystal one for the final fight. So ends Sigmar's final adventure. Again, there's no happy endings in Dark Souls. It's all sad. And now we have our slab. Now, if you wanted to explore this area, you could. There's a Hydra in the area. And there's the Great Dragon, the Ancient Dragon Covenant you can join. But we're not doing any of those. And there's quite a good useful spell hidden away in this area too that is a good magic resistance barrier. But again, we're not using magic, so it does us no good. So now that we have finally completed Sigmar's quest, we can go on a boss killing run. So we're going to go and knock out a few bosses that we didn't kill before. And the first one is going to be the Gaping Dragon. So the Gaping Dragon is supposed to be a boss you fought much earlier in the game, so it's going to be pretty much a cakewalk. And we're going to use the Leo Ring because his attacks are so long and withdrawn that we'll be able to pump bolts into him and get a bonus. But we're not going to need much help anyway. It's going to be overkill at this point. And we're even going to summon Solaire to give us a bit of a distraction. And even though I said that the last time we summoned him would be the last, I was not aware that you could go backwards and summon him after you reached a certain point in the story. But you can, so we're going to summon him to give. So your reward for killing the Gaping Dragon is the key to Blighttown in the front area here. The door straight ahead right there. Now, I kind of feel like I shortchanged you guys by not going through the entirety of Blighttown. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bonus video after this series is over to show like where the important items are that you should probably get before New Game Plus, and that will include a trip through Blighttown, because one of the most useful spells in all of Dark Souls is in there, and that's called the Power Within. There's also a heavy crossbow here, and some bolts, and our friend Solaire. Now usually I don't record the cutscenes, but this one is so iconic that I decided to leave it in. people have referred to it as a giant scaly vagina, which is a pretty spot-on description, to be honest. Now, by summoning Slayer, you will give the boss extra health, but like I said, at this point in the game, we are so overpowered for this boss that it's going to be over before it even begins. So, I like watching this cutscene. It looks like a little alligator's coming out at first. It's like, oh, it's going to be a little alligator or something, and then you just find out that that's just the nose, and when it rises up, you get the whole reveal. It wasn't that much of an interesting fight, but it is an interesting looking boss, that's for sure. Somebody had to come up with this. Now, if you want the tail of the dragon, you'll get the giant great axe, dragon great axe or something, and it's quite easy to cut this tail off because the dragon is slow most of the time. His only major attack that you need to worry about is his charge move. When he starts walking towards you, because it will pretty much one-shot most health bars. This one right here, this is his attack. And even with my health, it took off over half, so you definitely don't want to be in the range of that. But see how he just sits here and he just lets you shoot at him? And he'll shoot this toxic sludge out that will damage your weaponry, which this is a good time to have repair powder on you, since we don't have any kind of repair spell. But he's going to be dead before he does any damage to our weapons. Now, when he does that little thing where he charges like that, his head forward, that's his weak spot. And as you can see, with the Avalon and Leo ring, he didn't last long at all. We have the Blighttown Key. And there's a set of armor over here that you can get too. One of the basic. Alright, now before we continue our boss killing rampage, we have to go back into the catacombs to get a specific ring. I could have got this earlier, but it didn't really make sense at the time. But we're going to go get the Seance Ring so that we can open up the area to Dark Sun Gwendolyn. Alternatively, you could have killed Guinevere, and I mentioned this before. You can kill her. Kill the illusion, destroy the illusion, and you won't have to do this. But I just don't like Inolondo dark. It's kind of a weird thing, I guess. But I don't like it dark. I like it. I like the illusion, so I like the sunlight on in Orlando. So I never kill her. But you can kill her, and you don't have to get this ring. But to get the ring, you have to go into the catacombs. It's not that hard to acquire the ring, so even though we don't have a divine weapon, we're just going to avoid the skeletons. So as long as we avoid them, they won't reassemble themselves. We're just going to avoid fighting them. Just try to avoid them and get the ring and get out. And it shouldn't take that long either, since we know the catacombs quite well. And we're going to use that shortcut where we drop off anyway. But the skeletons will reassemble themselves because we don't have a divine weapon. The ones in the catacombs that still have any necromancers, if you haven't killed all the necromancers, they will reassemble. So, the Nito boss fight, which is one of the great Lord Souls, it's a good idea to have a divine weapon because it makes the boss fight so much easier. And the boss itself is not hard. It's the skeletons that make the boss hard. So imagine infinitely respawning skeletons and dealing with a boss. And not just a few skeletons. You're dealing with a few skeletons plus the giant variety as well. And if they all aggro on you and you're trying to fight the boss and you can't kill the skeletons, that's just not a fun time. So we are going to craft a divine Cestus to +5. It's going to be rather weak because we don't have any investment in faith. And so that's what it scales with. And it's just not going to be very effective. But as long as we get the killing shot with it, they won't respawn. And that's the benefit of a divine weapon. Again, just like in video 1, allure the first skeleton to you. Of course, we have the whip now. We can actually fight them. But let's not. Let's just go ahead and do the method here. Aim for the pots. And just roll away. Now, unlike the first video where we continuously dropped all the way down to the bottom, we're only going to drop off this one ledge here. And then we're going to continue up the area, the ramp here, to the left. Last time we had dropped down again, but this time we're not going to do that. We're just going to continue up. And remember, do not engage the skeletons, just run past them. You can't kill them right now because the necromancer is alive. So you can incapacitate them just to buy yourself a few seconds, but they will respawn. So if they're crowding a doorway, much like they're doing right here, just knock them out for a minute and just run. Now you want to get your homeward bone ready. Just kind of stay to the left after you go up here. You want to stay to the left here. Watch out for the skeleton dropping above. And just grab the ring from behind the sarcophagus and you're out of here. It wasn't too bad. And we get to still enjoy the sunlight in Anor Londo. Speaking of Anor Londo, that is where we're headed. So, if you remember way back when we revisited the Undead Asylum, we picked up a peculiar doll from our cell. This peculiar doll will allow you to enter the painting in Anor Londo, which is guarded by a ton of painted guardians. And I don't recommend fighting these guys. There's too many of them, and in a pack they can really cause some problems. But the painted world of Ariamis. This is an area where, if you are a fan of bleed weapons, you're going to be very interested in this area because it has 3 bleed weapons, and 2 of them are some of the most overpowered in the game. First, you have the Thorn Whip, which is a good, upgrade for our Indiana Jones build, but we're going to stick to the old faithful leather whip. But if you wanted to upgrade, you could, because it causes bleed. And bleed weapons in this game can really do some damage to certain bosses and enemies. Specifically the drakes that you have to farm for scales, or the Asylum Demon variants. They are extremely weak to bleed, and having a whip that does bleed is a cool thing. So, in addition to the whip, you can get a dagger. Now, the dagger is from Priscilla's tail, and it's pretty easy to get. We're going to actually get it in this walkthrough just to show you. But it doesn't do... However, if you can get the final hit with it that finishes off a bleed meter, you're going to do a whopping 50% damage to a health bar, which is insane. Now, the soul of Priscilla is the third bleed weapon you can use. Now, you have to use a halberd or a whip or a scythe that you can get from Sin's Fortress at the bottom, which we didn't get. But if you can craft one of those to plus 10, and you can get the soul of Priscilla combined with it, you will get the Life Hunt Scythe. The Life Hunt Scythe does the same thing that the dagger does. It has better range, however, a better moveset, and it will still do 50% damage bleed. However, it has a massive drawback in that the more you use it, the more you cause bleed to yourself. Now, you can use certain items to mitigate the bleed effect, but if it takes effect, imagine you're fighting an enemy and you have 50% of your health, and you take a swing and it's the last swing that needs to fill up your meter, you're going to instantly kill yourself. It's pretty dangerous to use that weapon. So right here, we're just going to go run past all these guardians and get to the painting and examine it. Now, we're not going to sit at the bonfire here. We're just going to do a really quick run through this area. We're going to use a couple of unconventional shortcuts, and we're going to cut off a lot of this area. We're not going to go into certain areas at all, because the only thing we're interested in is getting the boss killed, and we're going to pick up a few items that we're not even going to use, but we're just going to show you where they are. And they're pretty cool items, like I said. The whip, the Thorn Whip, and the 2 items from Priscilla herself. Now, you can try to get this here, but it does work if you use the binoculars, but it's kind of hard to hit. I tried it a few times and then said the hell with it. I'm not even sure what it is. I can't remember. But what you want to do is you want to come up here and clear out all of the hollows. Now, the bloated ones that shoot fire at you, if you engage in melee combat with these, they will instantly give you toxic effect. If you have a fire weapon, however, you're immune to it. But we don't have a fire weapon, so our best option is to shoot it from distance. And you'll see it here in a minute. But what you want to do is you come up there right here. Make sure you kill this guy, these two guys that come down. There's a specific jump you can make, and you'll cut off a good portion of the level. You have to hit that thing right, that little post right there, and you have to hit on top of it. But most of the time you'll just fall down like that. But we're going to try it again. Now here are the bloated guys, the pyromancy guys. Now just shoot them from distance. Make sure you don't hit them in melee, because they'll toxic you. Now we're going to try it again, and this time we got it. And what you want to do is you want to open up this door to the right. This leads back to the bonfire in the beginning of the level. It gives you quick access to the best farming area for souls in the entire game. But we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to hang a right here. We're going to clear out all these torch-wielding hollows and get ready for our NPC invasion. Make sure you're human, however. There is a spell on the right, but we're not going to get it. It basically causes damage to enemies' weapons. I guess it's useful in PvP maybe, but I've never found a use for it. So what you have to kind of go down here in order for Jeremiah to spawn. That's his name, Jeremiah. He is a pyromancy character, and he will throw fire nonstop. Now, one thing I want to say about this guy, don't fight him anywhere near the cliff, because there have been more than one occasion where I have fought him close to the edge, and he just rolls off and kills himself, and you don't get the whip. And I can't tell you how infuriating this is when you're trying to get the whip, and your whole playthrough is ruined. If you wanted the whip, you can't get it. So once he has invaded, make sure you go to the top of this area. Just get away from the cliff, period. You don't want to be anywhere near the cliff, because this is, like I said, has happened more than once. So for our build, we're just going to snipe him with the Avalon. He really doesn't stand a chance. He's pretty good at rolling, but wait until he starts one of his long, drawn-out animations for his fire, and you'll be able to pick him off pretty easily. Like right here, he takes some recovery time. And he's done. So we get the Thorn Whip. I actually did a Simon Belmont build, which I used this with. But we're not going to use it for this build. It's actually called the Notched Whip. I don't know why I keep calling it Thorn Whip. The Notched Whip. Now, normally, there's a statue right in front of you with that face facing towards you. Now, you want it to face the other direction. But in order to do that, you got to go through a lot of hoops. You got to go down into the tunnels and deal with the bone wheel skeletons and all that. And it is just a pain in the ass. So what we're going to do is, see, that's the door that we want open, but we can't open it. So we're going to do a shortcut. We're going to cut off pretty much the rest of the level. We're going to go straight to the boss, because we really don't have any need for anything else here. So what we're going to do is go back and continue the main path that we were traveling in. At first I thought about sitting, but then I didn't. So we want to go back where we were. And there will be this big dragon, undead dragon, which you'll want to lure out, and you'll just kill him from distance. And once he is dead, you'll be able to do, I don't know if it's an exploit or if it was designed, but there's a trick you can do. Make sure there's nobody following you. All these hollows like to follow behind you. This is not the way forward. You want to go this way right here. But yeah, this trick that we're about to do, I don't know if it was intended by the developers, but it was never patched. So I'm guessing it was designed this way. But it basically is a huge shortcut. A huge shortcut in this level. It cuts off the worst parts of it. The part with the annoying bone wheel skeletons you don't even have to do. So yeah, I love this shortcut. So in order to activate it, it's very odd. Make sure you kill these hollows if you're going to get this. They like to gang up on you. And still, at this stage, they can still kill you, even the basic hollows. But yeah, once you kill the dragon, you basically just have to do a running jump attack on the remains of, I don't even know what it is, but you'll see it shortly. And it basically allows you to get to the end. So right here is towards the boss area, that little tower area you can see just behind the dragon there. You want to wake him up and just run backwards. I usually like to get to the staircase. I equipped the Leo ring just to make it even faster, but you don't have to. He basically cannot hurt you from here. With Avalon, you can just snipe him. Here, I just wanted to get extra. I'm not even sure if I was getting any extra here. 479. A little bit extra. 483. He's constantly attacking, so you're going to be getting a little bit more damage. Now, for Priscilla, you want to make sure you equip some extra protection. And in this case, I actually equipped the blue tearstone ring and the ring of steel protection. But you also want to have a gold pine resin, for especially if you want the tail. And we are going for the tail here. We don't have to have it, but we're going to do it just because it's a pretty cool item. And I like to go for it. So you'll get a dragon skill for your efforts here. And earlier we picked up the blood shield on the bridge as we were running from the dragon. That's yet another bleed-oriented item in this level. So what you want to do is equip your Cestus and do a running charge jumping attack, and he'll just let you pass. He lifts up and you can just drop down. Very odd shortcut, but a very effective one nonetheless. Now, if you were to die to Priscilla, then you'll have to just come back and do it again, I guess. I don't know if it's still legs are lifted up or not, but luckily I didn't die here, so I didn't have to find out. So equip your gold pine resin to your whip, double hand the whip, and go to tail on the tail. Go to town on the tail here. Now, first you're going to hit her, she's going to go invisible. So immediately go to the outside of the ring and look at the ground and see where she's got her footsteps here. You can see it's right there. Just do a charge and just start attacking. You should be able to get her no problem. If you stick close to her, she really can't hit you very easily. And there's the dagger. Just keep working on that tail. You see one hit, nearly half of our bleed meter there. And like I said, if she fills that meter up, you're going to die, most likely. So the blood bite ring is a good option to have here as well, but we don't have it. So now, because we killed Jeremiah, if you want his set, it appears right here at the top of the stairs to the left here, but we did not save and quit out, so it didn't spawn. Now, we're going to go to the Dark Moon Tomb Bonfire, and that's going to be the episode. In the next episode, we'll take on Dark Sun Gwendolyn. And then we're going to go back to the DLC and finish off the rest of the bosses there, which include the Great Knight Artorias, the Manus of the Abyss, and Calamite, the Black Dragon. I'll see you guys in part 13.